What up, y'all? Good morning. Um, this is not my usual review. Damn. Oh, like I got bags and shit. Yeah, like I said, I was gonna start doing some game reviews, a bunch of stuff. Basically, everything that I do on a daily, normal, my regular shit is what I'm gonna review. As y'all know, I mean, clearly I listen to music. I got some music playing in the background. I don't know if it's gonna record, but yeah, I mean it's 9:45 in the morning, and I gotta be at work by like 11. But I got a little extra time to make this video. This is for that's nasty. Dark Souls versus Dragon's Dogma. I don't know how many other videos are already out, but with DLCs and add-ons and all sorts of shit, you gotta keep comparing it. Now, my immediate reaction from the get-go, as soon as Dragon's Dogma dropped, I'm like, they're trying to go against Dark Souls. Let's see how this ends up. Dark Souls, to me, at the end of all of this, yeah, Dark Souls is gonna win. But this is what you gotta realize. 75% or about 66% of the Dark Souls community makes up that Dragon Dogma community. So it's not like, Dragon's Dogma is a whole new group of people. No, the people that play Dark Souls also play Dragon's Dogma. There's a lot of people I know. Like, actually, most of the people that are like, we're talking about like 300 plus level characters on Dark Souls, play Dragon's Dogma. Which is natural because once you basically master a fucking game, you're gonna move on, you're gonna look for something new, you're gonna try to master the next game. So that next game was Dragon's Dogma. As we know, Dragon's Dogma is Capcom. I think Capcom is just the publisher. I'm trying to remember who actually makes it. Sadly, I can't. And we got FromSoft. Dark Souls. If we're talking about actual storyline, due to technicality, Dragon's Dogma wins. The reason why they win is because they have an actual storyline. And I will say this now: the way Dragon's Dogma ends is way better than Dark Souls. No bullshit. Now, everybody knows E&B, Epic Name Bro. Basically, him alone, because there was no clear-cut story in Dark Souls, him alone basically, I guess you can say, deciphered it. Because, I mean, there's still no confirmation that, his thoughts on it are completely right. But they're the closest you're going to get. So, I mean, you can guess in this and that, but he's the person that's just gotten the closest to deciphering the story of Dark Souls. What I'd hope would happen in Dark Souls 2 is that there's a character that, probably even a hidden character or something like that, that in Dark Souls 2, that as you progress throughout the game, you have to find him. You can find him in little spaces, and he'll actually tell you the story of Dark Souls 1, while you still probably don't know the story of Dark Souls 2. So now we finally have a true understanding of what the hell Dark Souls 1 really was. We still won't know Dark Souls 2. I mean, I think that'll be a good thing because it's just a comforting thing. It would be nice if they did that, but if I know them, they probably still won't. They probably won't waste the time putting that in the game. So we still will never know what truly the fuck was going on in Dark Souls 2. I mean, Dark Souls 1. So yeah, due to technicality, in the storyline, section, Dragon's Dogma wins. Dragon's Dogma story isn't bad at all. It actually is really good. It literally, Dragon's Dogma is like, because I don't think it's an infant-mature game. Yeah, Dark Souls definitely infant-mature. Dragon's Dogma is like T for teen, E for everyone. So it's not as gruesome of a game at all. It's not. Like, you don't see a bunch of blood and shit. You don't see all that in that game. Story isn't bad. For those who haven't played, basically, in a nutshell, you're in a little rural town, a rural sea town. So you're basically near the ocean, near water. You're in this town. This dragon comes and he's destroying everything. He's wrecking shop. He's fucking the town up. You being the brave person you are, you climb the damn dragon, you get to attacking it. You ain't doing no damage on him, but you're attacking him. He notices this. He's like, oh, you got balls. Okay, I'm gonna take your fucking heart. He takes your heart, and basically you spend the whole normal storyline going to fight this dragon and get your heart back and stuff like that. That's not the end of the game. This is why I said Dragon's Dogma ending, to me, and honestly I think so a couple other people, ending of Dragon's Dogma, shit got real for some reason. It's like you just got real lost. You think, oh, I beat the dragon, what's next? The game wasn't over. There was still some shit to do. I mean, you could quickly end the game after that. I mean, you can do the dragon stuff, and then you can easily quickly go through all the little, I forgot, I haven't played Dragon's Dogma in a little while, but you can go through all that, and then, you know, finally finish the game. It was, you know, probably, I'd say, another 30 minutes of playing, maybe a little over, and you can truly finally finish the game. But they make this game so fucking deep. That part to the true end of the game is like mind-blowing, because you're like, what in the fuck just happened? It's like, it was all childish and stuff, you know, something you'd see on like Cartoon Network for most of the game, and then we just went and jumped straight to fucking Adult Swim, and you're like, what in the hell? So storyline technically goes to Dragon's Dogma. Graphics, I can't even, okay, I'll just say it's a tie on graphics. I'll say it's a tie on graphics, because like I said, I haven't played fucking Dragon's Dogma in a little while. There are some places, Dragon's Dogma in general, have a night to day cycle. They have this, they have that, they have other. Dark Souls doesn't, but you gotta remember Dark Souls did come out first. So, you know, Dragon's Dogma is gonna they're gonna put stuff in the game that Dark Souls didn't have. But I'm giving it a tie just based off of that, kind of, sort of. You know, just to be fair. I mean, you have your night, like I said, you have your night and day cycle in Dragon's Dogma. Graphically, it is a beautiful game. Dark Souls, graphically, is a beautiful game. You know, there's some little spots in the game where you just sit there and look. Like, everybody knows that first time when you come to Anor Londo, and you just look, and you're like, this place is beautiful. Not realizing you're going to have a shitty time once you start, you know, traversing through the place. I'll give it a tie on that. Now, gameplay / fight. The tilt goes to Dark Souls. I wouldn't say because it's more gruesome, I'd say because it's just more. Dragon's Dogma, you honestly can go through that entire game without getting killed. That's just how it is. You can go through the entire Dragon's Dogma without getting killed. To make it even worse, I think they have an easy setting, which pissed me off, because I think, I don't know if they had some stuff before. I don't think they had any difficulty settings for it. Maybe they let you set it to like hard mode or something. I don't know. But it was normal. The normal game setting was pretty decent. It wasn't nothing too difficult. It wasn't nothing too easy. It just depended on who you were fighting. But when they made easy mode, that shit sucked. I'm like, you're trying to compete against Dark Souls. Like, they still had that in there. They still had that in mind, but they're trying to compete against Dark Souls, but also, I guess, lure in other people to play it. Because, like I said, Dark Souls clearly is truly meant for older people. Of course, in this day and age, a game can be immature, and a fucking 10-year-old can have the game and be playing it, which is Call of Duty. But it's like easy mode on Dragon's Dogma was so pointless. I'm like, you don't need an easy mode at all. Dragon's Dogma fights are just, they're all the same to me. They really are. They're just all the same. Dark Souls, no fight is truly the same on that damn game. In Dragon's Dogma, it's like you fight everything in the same way. There's only one time in the game. It's only really, when I think about it, it's seen I haven't played it in a while, and I still have this in my memory because I beat it a couple times. There's one point in Dragon's Dogma where you actually have to kind of sort of do something different to beat the boss, and that would be the dragon in the game. Because he'll fly around, you gotta shoot him down, and then you gotta climb him and then kill him, That's truly the only enemy in this game that I believe required something truly different to kill him. Other than that, it's literally hack and slash. And depending on what your class is, a little bit more. But it's mostly hack and slash. You can call in your little special combos and stuff. I will say, actually, that's I'm gonna make that another section. But gameplay, like the fights and stuff, definitely better in Dark Souls. Now, quests and shit, once again, you have a situation where technically Dragon's Dogma just wins. And I guess you could put quests under storyline. Just to be fair. So, because there are no fucking quests in Dark Souls. It's just, you have to fucking... It's like, for people who are brand new to playing the game, who don't watch YouTube videos, walkthroughs, or read wikis and stuff, Dark Souls is the hardest game on earth. Because you have no idea what the fuck you're supposed to do next. You will spend so much time just making it to the gargoyles in the beginning. Whereas compared to people who have played the game, or people who watched a YouTube video, or people who read a wiki, know exactly damn near what the hell they're doing. Like, you can make it to that point in the game in no time. That's why we have speedrunners. That's why we have Twitch. Clearly, you can watch people make it to that point of the game in less than like 15-20 minutes max. These guys beat the damn game in 2 hours or less at times. So, classes, I'd give it a tie. I guess I can give it a tie for classes, because fucking Dark Souls, the classes on Dark Souls are, the builds, I'll say they're pretty fucking legit. Because when you end up, actually I'll save what I was about to say for the next section, but I'll give it a tie. I enjoyed the Dark Souls classes, of course, and of course I enjoyed the Dragon's Dogma. Dragon's Dogma classes are pretty fun, because you have the regular classes, and then you have hybrid classes, you know, and then, you know, you can make your pawn into this or that. I don't think you can, yeah, you couldn't make pawns into hybrids, but it was fun being also able to change them and, you know, change their little combos, and they level up. You know, your pawn, your specific pawn, for those who've played Dragon Dogma, your specific pawn usually levels up with you. So he might be a level under you at the most, or he'll be the same level as you the whole damn time. But at least the next section, which I was saying, is the multiplayer network servers, all that stuff, you know, multiplayer capabilities. Everybody knows what Dark Souls 1 multiplayer, PvP and PvE, and just summoning and doing this and that, and yada yada yada, that shit. The thing is that I have to give it to Dark Souls, even though that sounds like, are you fucking serious? I have to give it to Dark Souls for the simple fact that there is an actual multiplayer. In Dragon's Dogma, there is no multiplayer, as in, you know, another player, another real life person be able to come in your game and help you or fight you or any of that. What they did was allow you to use your friend's pawn. So, I mean, basically what it's saying is all I have to do is have this person on my friends list, and I can use their pawn. Now, if they delete me from their friends list, or if they do a new game or something, and I go back, you know, then I'll basically lose that pawn. But this kind of made the game easy. I'm guilty of this, because on my second playthrough, I just wanted to run through it and do some extra stuff I didn't do the first time. So basically, you know, I went around the internet, you know, went through groups and shit, like, oh, who has, like, basically a Super Saiyan fucking pawn, an OPS pawn, and there are a couple guys. You add them, you be like, oh, dude, I want to use your pawn. You know, usually with video games, people are cool. But this is why Dark Souls wins. Like I said, Anor fucking Londo, the place you may hate the most. Anor Londo is a lot. Next to the forest and whatnot, compared to the forest, which is, you know, if you join the forest, you know, forest hunter clan, whatever, forest protector, whatever, if you join that, you know, that's automatic PvP, because all you gotta do is wear the ring and sit there, and you'll automatically end up, you know, invading somebody. But Anor Londo, a lot of people go through Anor Londo, you know, and you'll go through it. And if you're a new player, without realizing, you know, you'll probably be human. You get to a certain point, next thing you know, you're fucking invaded, and you're like, and you're just so pissed. Anor Londo is known, especially, I can't even give a specific spot, because there's just so many different little locations in Anor Londo where the level of invasion skyrocket. But this is why I like it, because it's an actual another person. Even though the person, the fucker, is probably like 100 soul levels higher than you, and he's about to one-hit the fuck out of you, or he's got some sort of fucking hacks and shit. Or, you know, he's just, there's people who literally just master PvP and just get ridiculously good. It's another person. The things with Dark Souls is that people are actually pretty nice. Like, the same person that will PvP you and come wreck your shit, if you message them and be like, dude, you're pretty fucking good, and I'm still learning and yada yada yada, I need some help trying to clear some bosses and shit, they're like, oh yeah, sure, I'll help you. Because guess what, that same person, the reason why they're invading you in the first place is because they have nothing to fucking do. So they don't care about basically, you know, replaying the game, getting some extra souls or something. So, you know, yeah, they'll come in they'll help you. Even though you can't do party chat in Dark Souls, you can always do private chat, which actually does work perfectly fine with Dark Souls. So you can do private chat and be talking to, your buddy or whatever, and y'all are progressing levels. Even though a lot of people are like, man, the fucking servers suck, and yada 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 for Dark Souls, there's a sync factor. So I think if somebody is on your friends list, and if you give it time, and lay down the summon, and you just give it time, it actually will pop up in your game. The thing is that people just don't want to wait. I mean, usually that's how it is. I don't want to wait either. But, the summon will actually pop up, and you'll actually be able to play with your buddy. So you can have your brother, you and your brother can be playing Dark Souls, going through New Londo, fighting 4 kings and stuff. The one thing about Dark Souls 2, they said they're going to definitely fix that. So, multiplayer and, the servers and shit are going to be way better. All we can do is wait and see. But, is there one more section? Weapons. Goes to Dark Souls. Dragon's Dogma has a lot of weapons, and I'm trying to remember if there are any special weapons that you make. And I don't think that there are any special weapons in Dragon's Dogma that you make, or need certain things to make it. I don't think you can enchant weapons. I don't think you can. There's a lot of stuff I don't think you can do. I can't remember. Like I said, I haven't played Dragon's Dogma in a while. But I mean, there are weapon sets. There's weapons, and there's armor sets and stuff like that. A couple special ones, like the Abyssal armor set, which I believe is like the best one in the game. You also have what's that damn sword? I forgot the sword. But you also have the whatchamacallit sword that's basically OP as fuck. And you can get it, see, I forgot all the terms and everything for Dragon's Dogma. You get your shit, is it Dragon Forged or something like that? Yeah, usually when you beat a dragon, every once in a while. For sure, when you beat that main boss storyline dragon, all your stuff will be like Dragon Forged and whatnot, by default. Now, there are actually other dragons in the game where it could possibly happen, but it's possible. It can happen. It's just a smaller chance. The percentages are lower. It just depends. Like, I think you can not forge the weapons, but you can upgrade a weapon at the blacksmith in the game and whatnot. So basically, it's like, I think in that whole game there's one guy in that whole game, I think, that mainly sells basically the weapons. Klaxon, I think that's his name. Yeah, you can upgrade the weapons. Same thing like Dark Souls. You can +1 to +10, +15, all that shit. You can do all that stuff to the weapon. There's only 3 tiers, and then Dragon Forge, I think, is just automatically the highest. So, but it's like Dark Souls would just easily get that, because I think there's just way more weapons in Dark Souls. If I'm sure, I'm pretty sure there's just more weapons in Dark Souls. There's just some more weapons. If anybody can use any weapon, that is another thing about it. Dragon's Dogma, they make weapons class specific. So, if you're an archer, you can't necessarily use certain stuff. If you're a sorcerer, you can't use, that's how they made that game. They made the game where certain weapons are class specific. Dragon's Dogma, no. You can use any fucking thing and be any class. How effective it'll be, honestly, is also up to you. because you can be a pyromancer and, you know, put a lot of shit into your strength as well, strength and dex and all that stuff. So you can be a fucking pyromancer and still be using, you know, sweet handers and all sorts of little reckless ass weapons, killing everybody. You know, you think this guy's a fucking pyromancer, and then he pulls out a fucking scythe and kills you, or you automatically have bleed, and you're like, what? You're like confused. That's the one thing about PvP. People do shit like that. They make these fucking classes, make these builds that are just reckless as hell. But the weapons in the games and the weapon compatibility, Dark Souls just wins because you can use any weapon for any class. That's just how it is. You know, like clearly you have battle mages. You know, you can be a mage or you can be a battle mage. Battle mage being honestly better than a mage, because the thing is that being a battle mage, you can still get your intelligence and, you know, faith and whatnot. You can still get that shit all the way to the max, and still get your strength and dex and all that shit to the max too if you wanted to, and basically rape everybody, because everybody knows in Dark Souls magic is OP as fuck. Also in Dragon's Dogma, magic is OP as fuck. You know, like I said with the pawns and shit, I had somebody's pawn, and some of the best pawns, because they have a leaderboard, some of the best pawns in fucking Dragon's Dogma are basically magic users. You know, usually that's how it goes. You know, they're probably a magic user, because literally they'll do something and wipe out the whole area. Your boss fight. The first time I did the boss fight, the boss dragon, I think I died maybe twice. The second playthrough with the pawns I had, it was done. I swear, I give it a minute tops. So I mean, there's too many things in Dragon's Dogma that ends up making the game easy. You know, you have to purposely challenge yourself. You know, they tried to, you know, put a time trial mode and this and that mode, and you got a mode to make Dragon's Dogma harder. You know, a lot of people themselves, what they do, they'd at least this is the only way I know of, is, you know, if you get your pawn killed off or something, he'll go back to the rift, and you basically will be able to play by yourself. So that's, you know, that's the closest you can get to having that game be difficult. If it's just you versus all this shit on the game, not you, your pawn, and two other pawns, not you, your pawn, and one pawn. You know, you can do that to make the game more difficult. Replayability. Go to Dark Souls. Like I said, Dark Souls is going to end up winning this, and that's how most people are going to feel. But replayability does go to Dark Souls because, you know, at least everybody will do New Game Plus. And then of course you have people who do New Game Plus. You know, you can have those people, but at least most people do New Game Plus. New Game Plus on Dragon's Dogma is also pretty, I guess you can say it's pretty good as well, because it'll have some enemies, some special enemies in certain areas that weren't there in the first game, you know, and it opens up certain shit. But Dark Souls is just, even though it's the exact same game, it's just a lot more difficult. Yeah, you can go through the game with your same stuff, same thing from Dark Souls, same thing in Dragon's Dogma. You do New Game, but you still have all your stuff. It's just better. And then DLC or extensions. This is where Dragon's Dogma fucked up. I was planning on making this video having played Dark Arisen, because in my mind I thought Dark Arisen was going to be DLC downloadable. I did not realize it's a whole separate game slash disc in a way, because the last thing I had heard about it, because I knew about it for a while, but what I had heard about it was that, you can take your previous character, your save and whatnot, and bring him into the new game, and he'll have this and that. And I don't know why I took that as DLC. I should have known when they said that this is going to be a separate disc type of thing. But it pissed me off, and I'm like, and at the max, how much does it cost? I believe it costs like 30, 35, 40 for Dark Arisen. I'm like, I'm gonna pick it up, but I don't know. I mean, people were saying that Dark Arisen is just harder, but I think that's where they messed up. They must have made Dark Arisen so big of a game to the point where it needed another disc. That's the only explanation for it. That's the only explanation. They made it too big, in a way. They made it so big to the point where you need another disc. Which is still kind of crazy to me, because I'm like, Fallout does that shit all the time. Fallout 3, they had their DLCs that are whole nother, like, little maps and stuff. So, I mean, that's what I'm guessing, is that just the game was just too large. It was just too large. Because, I mean, when you think about it, they could have made it a DLC type of thing. Or they could have at least had it been put on, Marketplace to just be downloaded, not having to go to the actual store and buy the damn thing. I'm going all the way back to Red Dead Redemption when they had the Zombie Nightmare and whatnot. There was the disc version, and there was also the DLC where you can just download it. And it pretty much worked the exact same damn way. So, Dragon's Dogma took the L, because I haven't even played it yet, but, they just took the L. Dark Souls, they did DLC how everybody else does DLC. You download it, you play it in the game. The only thing you had to do for the Dark Souls DLC was go into the Duke's Archives, kill that golem, get the little broken pendant and whatnot, and go down to where the Hydra was, and there you go. You're now in the DLC content. And the DLC content, FromSoft wouldn't do this any other way. They were going to do something like that. As soon as you hop off into the damn place, as soon as you go through, you're fighting this fucking thing, and you're like, what in the fuck? Because it's something new. And you're like, what the fuck? Now, lore, the reason why I'm making lore and storyline two different things, and this is the last one, is because this is more fair to Dark Souls. Because Dragon's Dogma also has lore. Dark Souls lore clearly wins. Because when you don't have a storyline, but you have lore, that's all you can go off of. The lore becomes the story. It makes shit. The storyline in Dark Souls is open-ended. Like, even to the end of the game, they make Dark Souls where you honestly don't know what the fuck is going on. Like, either you torture yourself or you become the new ruler. And nobody truly still actually understands what the hell it means. There's just so much stuff in Dark Souls that you just don't fucking really, truly know. Nobody still really knows if that was Havel that was locked in that tower. Because you can't say, oh, well, it couldn't have been Havel. That'd have been too much time. Gwen is fucking still alive. He's burnt to a fucking crisp. He's still alive. I'm pretty sure Havel could be. Nobody truly knows that that was Havel watching that tower. But you can link certain stuff together. Like when you fight the Moonlight Butterfly, after you beat him, you go into the other tower, you get the, you see the blacksmith. What does that blacksmith have? Does he have a key? Or does he have an ember? I can't remember. But there's that blacksmith right there. He's like, basically in stone and shit, and, you know, dust and shit. What a lot of people believe is that they either say Gwen locked Havel or whatever in that tower. And the thing is that it still is that even Havel. But they say Gwen locked him in that tower, or it was that blacksmith that locked Havel in that tower. Nobody knows. There's just too much shit. There's too much shit. There's just too much shit in Dark Souls. There's too much, and it makes it great. Because you're truly fucking confused. You don't know what the hell. You just don't. So, I mean, this went on a little bit longer than I thought, 36 minutes. But it's a lot. This probably would have been shorter if, you know, there were no DLC to add on. But Dragon's Dogma is not a bad game. Because like I said, I own both, and a lot of people who play Dark Souls also own Dragon's Dogma. But this had to be done. You know, it's been sitting on my mind for a while. So it's like, you know, yeah, Dark Souls wins, of course. But I would also say to pick up Dragon's Dogma just to play. Dragon's Dogma is the little cousin, the little brother. You know, after you get stressed out playing Dark Souls, popping Dragon's Dogma. That's what I'm saying. Dragon's Dogma is stressless Dark Souls. With the story. It's easy. You know, that's all I can really say. I'm about to go to work. Peace.